Funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. Curtis and Son Funeral Home. Clemmy Jean Duck, age 93, of Vincent, died Sunday at her residence. Visitation is today, 5 till 7 o'clock at Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, with a funeral service on Friday at 2 o'clock from the Childersburg Chapel. Burial in the Vincent City Cemetery. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Mr. Harold Shell died at Goodwater Healthcare Center this morning. Curtis and Son Funeral Home announcing. Funeral service for Preston Grant Bowen, age 17, of Childersburg. That service is this afternoon at 2 o'clock from Calvary Baptist Church in Childersburg, with the Reverend Paul Hickman Jr. officiating. There will be a private family graveside service to follow. Visitation for the friends, 12:30 till 2 o'clock prior to the service at the church. That's Calvary Baptist Church in Childersburg. Fond memories and expressions of sympathy may be shared at curtisondsonfh.com to the Bowen family. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Mr. Edward Gardner died at his residence on Tuesday. Curtis and Son Funeral Home announcing. Funeral service for Mr. William Looney will be Friday at noon from Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel. Burial in Green Hills Cemetery. Visitation on Friday, 11 until noon. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. And Mr. Johnny Smith died at Sylacauga Health and Rehab on Tuesday. Curtis and Son Funeral Home announcing. Graveside service for Peggy Mullins, age 83, of Sylacauga, will be Friday at 11 o'clock from Marble City Cemetery, with her grandson Brad Williams officiating. Mrs. Mullins died Tuesday, July 5th at her residence. Visitation Friday 10 until 11 at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, a family request donation be made to Marble City Baptist Church or Sylacauga Animal Shelter, Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Fannie Lee Crow Patterson will be Saturday at 11 a.m. from Friendship Baptist Church in Talladega Springs. Burial in the adjoining cemetery of Friendship Baptist Church. Visitation at the funeral home on Friday from 1 until 7. Community Funeral Home, 511 Edgewood Drive, Sylacauga, directing. Kenneth Kelly Keith, age 66, of Talladega, died Tuesday. Funeral ceremony will be held in his honor at 11 o'clock Saturday at Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega, with interment in the Pine Hill Memorial Park directly following the service. Brian Camp will officiate. The family will receive friends Friday from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. at the funeral home. Mr. Keith was a native and lifelong resident of Talladega, and employed with Talladega Machinery and Supply. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Betty Ruth Turner, age 92, of Pell City, died Tuesday. Visitation will be Friday, 12:30 till 2 o'clock at Crotwell Baptist Church, with a celebration of life funeral to follow. Interment at the Valley Hill Cemetery. Family requests that any donation go to the Crotwell Baptist Church Missions Fund, 2700 Hardwick Road, Pell City, Alabama, 35128. Fond memories of sympathy may be shared at kilgorefh.com for the Turner family. Now, Ms. Turner was served as a member of the St. Clair Head Start Board, the Valley Hill Cemetery Board, the St. Clair Regional Hospital Auxiliary, and many others. Betty Ruth Turner, age 92, of Pell City, died on Tuesday. Memorial service for Drayton Buddy Patton, age 61, of Sylacauga, will be Friday at 6 p.m. at Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga. I'll be officiating that service. Mr. Patton died Thursday, June 30th at his residence. Visitation Friday, 5 until 6 o'clock at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Donald Wren Benefield, age 61, of Sylacauga, will be Friday at 2 o'clock in Papertown Baptist Church, with Brother Michael Frost officiating. Burial in the Talladega Springs Cemetery. Mr. Benefield died July the 2nd. Visitation tonight, 6 until 8 at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. And Freddie Lou Treese Barnett, age 88, of Southside, of Sylacauga, excuse me, died in Southside on July the 3rd. Graveside service today at 11 o'clock from Evergreen Cemetery with David Carroll officiating, Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. And funeral service for Shirley Peppers will be 3 o'clock today at Wright's Funeral Home Chapel with interment in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family receiving friends today 2 to 3 prior to the service. Wright's Funeral Home in Pell City in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning, courtesy of Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremations since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.